How's it going, guys? Today I'm going to be ranking every single Thomas narrator from worst to best. I hope you guys will enjoy this whole session, and these are going to be in my opinion. In total, there are 9 narrators in total, and I'm going to be trying to rank them. No, I do not count the Railway series narrators because I have not listened to them. So let's get started off the bat. Coming in at last place is actually a tie between both Wobble narrators for Thomas, Joseph May and John Hasler. For my honest opinion, Joseph May voiced Thomas in the US while John Hasler voiced Thomas in the UK dub. But I don't know what to say about these. They both started to voice them before the Adventure Begins DVD came out. Martin Sherman and Ben Small were supposed to be the ones to do it, but they retired because of that. And now the narrators have started to change up. Kerry Shales James was gone for that reason. Kerry Shales still voices Gordon, but there's just an honest opinion about them. Because of that, they are both going to be going into the bad tier. My browser's just off track. Next up, we have, I know this is going to get you guys really mad at me for this, it's Michelangelos. I know. I do not like Michelangelos' narration. He is extremely dumb. Well, not dumb. He's dull, but he does produce energy for James, Sir Topham Hatt, Percy, and Gordon. But I'm not sure about the rest, though. I'm going to put him in the mediocre tier, even though he's the longest running UK narrator. Up next is Pierce Brosnan. I cannot say myself Pierce Brosnan is not that awkward, though. He is an average narrator. He was supposed to plan up to season 14, but that never happened in the CGI stuff. He was the only narrator to voice both dubs in the Great Discovery DVD, which I really, really like. Because of that, I'm going to place him in the average tier, above Michelangelos. Next up, we have Mark Morhang. I am not a huge fan of him, but his narration was supposed to plan up to Journey Beyond Sodor. His first appearance was in season 13, episode 18, being Snow Tracks, or I don't think that was episode 18. My honest opinion, Mark Morhang is a decent narrator. So because of that, he is going into the good tier. I am surprised about his narration there. Alright, now I'm starting to think we're getting to the US narrators that I really like. Coming into 4th place is Ringo Starr. He's not the most amazing narrator. He's probably one of my favorite UK narrators to voice seasons 1 and 2, even though he didn't have enough energy to do so. To be honest, Ringo Starr has voiced every single episode in the US dub for season 1, but he only narrated half of them in season 2. George Carlin took over the rest, though, but we'll talk about him later. So I'm going to put Ringo Starr in the good tier. I'm surprised about his narration being extremely high. Alright, coming in at 3rd place is Alec Baldwin. I am surprised about Alec Baldwin's narration, though. That inspired me. He was amazing in season 5. He had a lot of energy. However, on the other hand, he lost all of his energy in season 6. I keep saying, though, he did have amazing energy, like for Bill, Ben, Stephanie, and Caroline. But I am not so sure. I cannot compare Michael Angeles and Alec Baldwin's narration because I don't have access to do that with my microphone, which is why I'm using my phone to record myself to try and narrate and rank the narrators from worst to best. Even though I placed Michael Angeles in the average tier, he is kind of meh though, but I still do not like his narration. If any of you guys like Michael Angeles' narration, then that's fine. I have no bad feelings about Michael Angeles. He used to be a good narrator when I watched it, but he was only good in the Railway series book Gordon Goes Foreign. But for Alec Baldwin, there was like a lot of action stuff and a lot of energy he voiced in season 5 with action-packed episodes like Toby and the Flood, Haunted Henry, Stepney Gets Lost. All of these action-packed episodes started to inspire my world. But however, he's not the most amazing narrator. That's why he's coming at number 3. For that reason, he is going in the good tier. Even though he voiced both dubs in Thomas and the Magic Railroad. Hopefully they can all respect the seeing there, even if I cannot see them because of that. My fans cannot see it, so that doesn't matter. Coming at number 2 is actually really close to tell, but I'm preferring the fact that, well, I'm saying coming at number 2 is a shock for you guys. It's George Carlin. I know. George Carlin was the best narrator for both seasons 1 through 4. But he didn't even narrate season 5 because he had a lot of show actresses to do. I don't know what that is, but whatever. I am not saying, though, but this is unbelievable. George Carlin had a lot of energy to do so. He had the best narrations to do so. If you guys don't like George Carlin's narration, then I'm not going to argue with you. I did not realize how amazing George Carlin's energy was. In season 1, he's great. Better than Ringo. In season 2, he was even better. Once again, better than Ringo. In season 3, he was amazing and fantastic at that. And at season 4, he comes out with a bang. I prefer Michael Brandon over Michael Angeles too, but George Carlin is great. And for that, he is going into the amazing... Oh, if I did that myself, George Carlin will go to the amazing tier. I am so surprised that I managed to put him there. And coming in at first place is the longest-running U.S. narrator, Michael Brandon. I'm sorry if I made my video so short, but I am going to be completely honest. This is all true for that reason. I have no idea what my respect honesty is going to be about. But I'm going to say myself for this. Michael Brandon is my favorite narrator of Thomas and Friends ever made in the entire franchise. Season 7, he did decent, but Season 6, he did poorly. But he didn't really give up until he produced lots and lots of energy in Seasons 8 through 12. Well, Season 12 is my least favorite of the entire season, and the franchise, too. But in the Miller era, he did great, even though I do not like the Miller era episodes a lot there. But I also do not like the Brenner era episodes as well. I'm sorry, guys, but I do not like watching the Brenner era films, or, yeah, both. Until Mark Morhang produced a bit of energy in nearly every single show from the entire Brenner era until the Waba era, on John Hasler and Joseph May both narrating as Thomas. Wouldn't it be a surprise to have Mark Morhang narrate the Boba era as well? That didn't happen, though. Even though with Misty Island Rescue and Day of the Diesels being at the top list at this moment, I do not like Blue Mountain Mystery. I'm sorry, guys, but I do not like that movie. It has poor execution, the dialogue is off track, and the scene with the Blue Mountain Mystery is great, but I do not like the fact that Sir Topham Hatt gets cross over Thomas for not being on his branch line. That is my least favorite part there. Even though it does have great music, and the song Blue Mountain Mystery is an amazing end to this movie, but this movie still stands to be the worst of the entire Miller era. And if you guys are saying, how come you don't like Blue Mountain Mystery? It's because I do not like watching that film. Even though the Blue Mountain Quarry set is brilliant, but it's not quite as good as Misty Island Rescue's amazing visuals in Misty Island. Why do I prefer that movie over Blue Mountain Mystery? It's because of the epic music, concept, and ideas for the voice acting. Kerry Shale, William Hope, and Glenn Rang have done amazing voicing the logging locos, even though they were insufferable little twats in this. Well, I didn't mean to say that, but I did it anyway. It's only because of how childish they were. But even though I do not mind that, it does the most amount of rhyming in the movie. And in Day of the Diesels, it does have a great concept, but the ending was basically bad there. But the song was actually pretty good for some reason. I quite liked it. But I prefer that over Misty Island Rescue song. It doesn't produce a lot of jazz as it is, but the music was brilliant there. And also, Michael Brandon also voiced a lot this time from the entire Hit era, as well as the Miller era. And he's done brilliantly. My only problem is how odd his narration was in season 12. Even though he had a lot of energy like Hector, Donald and Douglas, who eventually returned back to business right now. Diesel 10, even though he's gruff at that. Gruff! It's not really a roar, it's just how gruff he was in calling all engines. And he's kind of like an epic narrator for voicing a lot of energy in the Hit era as well. He used to have a lot of energy in Rusty, but failed it in season 11. I don't know how odd it is. I think he might have got tired. Kind of forgot who to narrate. Who did he narrate? Well, that's your main hope. And then we got some of the UK voices from Blue Mountain Mystery that voiced the narrow gauge engines, which still stay the same though. But some of the US voices have changed often. Kerry Shale's Diesel in the UK dub. That is not great. That is not good at all. But Michael Brandon is my all-time favorite narrator. And because of that, he is going above George Carlin. Alright, that is all 9 narrators that I have ranked. I know you guys cannot see that well, but I'll try and get as close as I can. Oh, I can't really. But I'm surprised I managed to pick who to narrate, though. But in last place is a tie between John Hasler and Joseph May. What a surprise for both of these narrators. I do not like them that much. But if I had to pick who the least was, it would probably be John Hasler. I am not a fan of that. But Joseph May is slightly better. Coming in at 7th place is Michelangelos. He's kind of old though, but he still managed to get to the longest UK narration from season 3 all the way to season 16. I mean, he was also old in that session, but he was quite great though for some reason. I kind of liked it, but until my opinion on him has changed at last. Next up is Pierce Brosnan in 6th place. Pierce Brosnan was awkward for voicing some of the engines in The Great Discovery. I don't know if I can get as close as I can for who to access through, but Pierce Brosnan did fine in The Great Discovery, even though he's kind of telling his kids about bedtime story. Even though if his energy produces a bit, he does deliver it a bit. But I'm sure Brendan would have done much better. But still, he was supposed to plan up to season 14, but that never happened. But in 5th place is Mark Morhang. I actually like that narrator. And for his obvious reason is of how much his energy has made. No, I do not count him that bad though. Even though I do not like his narration in some of these episodes, but I do not know which. 3 Steam Engines Gruff was kind of weak in my opinion, but it's not the worst of the entire season. Toby's New Friend was probably the best episode of the Brenner era in season 20, but both Philip episodes were kind of awkward for that reason in season 19. But I would still prefer Philip to the rescue over something weird. In 4th place is Ringo Starr. He was like the first narrator to rank the first episode, Thomas and Gordon, which he did better than George Carlin for some reason. But I was still not a fan of him for that reason, but he was in 4th place and has done great for some reason. In 3rd place is Alec Baldwin. I'm surprised about his narration being extremely high, but losing it in season 6. If he had a lot of energy in season 6, he would have been in the top spot, but he's not. So he's going into number 3. I'm surprised about his narration being high in season 5, but not in season 6 though. He had lost all of his energy, like for Bill and Ben. But for possible reasons, he did pretty well on voicing Salty for some reason. And Elizabeth as well. But I'm surprised how much higher his narration has gotten in season 5. Some of my favorite episodes, like Double Teething Troubles, has gone incredible. Probably with Stepney Gets Lost, he's done really well voicing them. But for Haunted Henry and Snow, they're kind of good in my opinion. Even though I prefer some of these episodes like Late Hat's Birthday Party, By George, and possibly A Surprise for Percy to be great than that. But coming in 2nd place is George Carlin. George Carlin was an amazing narrator for 4 seasons, like seasons 1 through 4. My favorite would be season 3 in my opinion, because of how high his energy was. And his amazing new characters like Bulgy, Oliver, Toad, and possibly... what else? I'm just not going to answer that one. But he did do great voicing Caroline as well. But honestly, that is not the most part for that reason. Stepney's my favorite character though, but I do not think his narration wouldn't be that dull though. George Carlin is still an amazing narrator. Even though Stepney's my favorite character, he did fine with that. But in some of my favorite episodes like Thomas and Stepney, Train Stops Play, and Bowled Out were possibly the best of the entire show. Followed by Henry and the Elephant, Gallon Old Engine, Special Funnel, Sleeping Beauty, Grand Puff, and possibly Four Little Engines. And I'm also surprised about how much it has gained through the entire stuff. But in Toad Stands By is really great. even though I consider the Stepney episodes over that. But in first place is surprisingly Michael Brandon. Michael Brandon's narration is strong. It's high up in the list, and his stuff is pretty much intense. And even though George Carlin and Alec Baldwin were great narrators for seasons 1 through 5, the first 5 were brilliant and one of the best so far. But in season 6 and 7 is great. But season 8 is also great, but season 9 was a bit meh for some reason. Season 10 was poor there for some reason, even though Michael Brandon did great narrating these episodes. And I kind of like Wharf and Peace, Thomas and Scarlowi's Big Day Out, Big Strong Henry, Which Way Now, and possibly It's Good to Be Gordon for some reason. I actually liked that episode when I rewatched it. Mainly because of how shameful Gordon is to Henry. And for also, as a known reason, I prefer these narrators to be on the top list. But speaking of that, the concept for Season 10 is not quite good, though. But in Season 11, it was much better. I really liked Season 11, including some of my favorite episodes, like I said in my Season 11 ranking. Being Thomas and the Big Bang, Thomas in Trouble, even though even people do not like Thomas and the Big Bang. Hector the Horrid, Dream On, Thomas and the Runaway Car, Hide and Peep, Wash Behind Your Buffers, Thomas and the Lighthouse is a surprise that I really like that one and people don't. I might get hated for that reason. And it would probably be Cool Truckings as an obvious reason, even if I said it already, which I might say it again. But who cares? Scarlowy, Storms Through, and Ding-a-Ling are fine for some reason, even though I put them in the great tier for some reason. It's just Scarlowy being a wimpy and Scarlowy Storms Through, and Freddy doesn't know how to find a bicycle bell in Ding-a-Ling. But that's not what I'm supposed to talk about. If you guys want to watch my Season 11 ranking, it will be posted on my channel, and it was already posted in September or October. I do not know when it was published. It was published at night though for some reason, and I kind of enjoyed myself watching that. Hopefully you guys agree with my ranking. Let me know your ranking in the comments below. And until then, this is Owen signing out. We'll see you guys next time.